Yo, getting started in about 2 minutes here, guys. Go ahead and grab a drink and we'll get into our spiels. Good to have you guys in. All my people. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. How's it going, my friends? No webcam today, just pure data. Feeling a little stingy right now, not gonna lie. Or feeling a little smelly, a little scruffy. But look at all you guys in here. Jungle Beast, good to see you, bro. Team Algo, Matt, Doom, Julia, Blockchain Cowboy, Crypto Coons, Dr. Salmon says, that XRP call, man, are you a time traveler? Time definitely has something to do with it. Rebel in Black, are you only looking at BTC? I see Fart tab open. Brilliant observation, man. Yeah, we're looking at couple cryptos here. These are the cryptos we'll be going over today, man. BTC, Ripple, Fart, Sui, Sol, and ETH. Had some really nice plays in the Discord. Let's pull it up. Let's look at what we're dealing with here, what we had going on today. So, man, this morning was very, very rickety. I was flip-flopping both ways almost. I almost flip-flopped to the downside, but we never quite closed under that daily VWAP. This was early in the morning when the S&P 500 had just opened up and started rolling over. So I got a little concerned that the S&P could just keep wicking down. So I did plan on entering these little short hedges here on BTC and Ripple to counter my original signal, which got one like. Whereas, look, the shorts were way more popular this morning. 8 people liked the counter idea, which I never actually entered. But these were the trades I was in this morning. So I wish I was gambling on this move. I should have gambled on it. If I gambled on it, I would have made like 13 grand. But I only traded it, so I only made 2 grand. But this was what we were dealing with, guys. A new week had begun. We're starting to get those closes over the new weekly VWAP. And where do you target? You target the previous weekly VWAP. And BTC was looking the same. So I was doing it on Ripple and Bitcoin. And Ripple ended up playing out a lot better. Let me show you guys. So Ripple just came up and hit my target like right away, man. This is why I actually have been enjoying trading Ripple, Fartcoin, a little bit of SWE, but mostly like those two. Sometimes these altcoins, they get their weekly leapfrogs out of the way with the quickness, and it's just real nice. So Ripple had a real nice move here, caught this like surgically. And it's like, how do you even know where the target is in that long unless you have Leapfrog? You know? It's like, how do you know this is the exact resistance to not only take profit on your long, but also to flip short? I didn't flip short, but it's just the power of the VWAPs, guys. Look at Bitcoin coming down and look where we found a bottom. You know, we were down here at that low. And you really just think it's going to keep cutting through. You're like, nah, man, it's not going to hold. This time it's going to just cut through. And it doesn't, bro. These anchored VWAPs, these quarterly anchored VWAPs always have a reaction, man. And so you're at that big Q2 previous. This, in fact, we're in the month of April. I just realized that Q2 just started, guys. And so what do? We dump down to the previous Q2. So I wasn't anticipating like that leapfrog for dumping from the new Q2 to the previous Q2, but I guess that just happened. I guess that happens sometimes. But you see that reaction off the macro anchored VWAP. What is the reaction? It's like this momentum candle right here. You know what I'm saying? That's like your first sign that this is not a joke of a level. This is a serious level to be taken seriously. Especially when you're this far away from the previous weekly VWAP. So there was a big gap there for you guys to exploit at the turn of this new week here. A lot of panic in the markets, but interestingly enough, despite all the fear-mongering around tariffs, if you had no idea, if you weren't watching the news at all and just trading Leapfrog, you would have entered along here because you gained traction on the new weekly VWAP and you would have taken profit as we were approaching the previous weekly VWAP. So, you know, it's like, who cares what it's going to do now? All we got to do is wait for new weeks to appear, new weekly VWAPs, and then see how far away it is from the previous week, and there's an opportunity gap there. So it's a humble existence, a meager existence, being bound by time, being bound by the starts of weeks, months, quarters, to get the majority of your high confidence moves. Sometimes I feel super FOMO watching my brother 5 days a week nailing huge ass trades. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I did not make 600 grand today. You know what I'm saying? But comparing yourself to other people is not the way to go. You have to compare yourself to yourself. So, you know, your trades are your trades. Your setup is your setup. And the less you trade, probably the better. You don't want to be spending as much time in the markets as crypto face. You're not going to make it, bro. Yeah, you guys in the chat talking about I get the FOMO too watching CF. Yeah. Man, Fartcoin. Look at Fartcoin, by the way. We're on crypto bubbles. And look at the top performer for the day, guys. So, you know, I'm not just some goon. Well, I am just a goon. I am just a schmuck. But I am a goon schmuck who is correct sometimes about the markets. And I've been like bullish on Fart, saying Fart is one of the more promising crap tokens out there. It's a scat coin. And it's like, look, it's up 139% for the month. This thing's actually going nuts. Fartcoin. We're looking at Fartcoin here. Jeez, man, look, it's breaking out over its... I didn't even know it did this. This is recent, man. Ooh, J Chains, what's up, bro? Let me give you a wrench. I gotta give a couple people wrenches up in here. Standard moderator. I'm gonna give Jungle Beast. I'm gonna give you a wrench too, man. Keep the gropers at bay. We don't really have. I mean, we are the FloppingGropers. That's our community team name, but. Anyways, let's see. Fartcoin here. Let's see what's going on here. Daily. We'll open market Cipher B. About to get a money flow crossover? This has to be a scam, bro. I mean, Fart is climbing out of its VWAP gulag here, but seemingly with a daily money flow crossover, RSI is kind of picking up here. This is interesting on daily Fart. It's probably like gonna just slam back down, and we find ourselves back under these VWAPs again soon, but I don't know, man. A full daily candle close over this VWAP gulag gets me kind of licking my lips a little bit for some more upside. So we gotta watch this thing, man. This thing could run away. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know. All I know is that at the turns of months and weeks, like, there's little moves and windows that we can catch. For instance, you know, the new week had begun right here. We are under the previous. And so do you see how that was a clue that the overall direction is up here? Because the Leapfrog was up. So there was a small gap. Yes, there was. It seemed like there wasn't much of a trade on Fartcoin here. A 5% gap on Fartcoin is nothing. We want to see those like 30-40% gaps to make that trade really worth it. But in this case, that tight gap between the new weekly VWAP and the previous weekly VWAP was actually a clue of a more volatile move to the upside. Yeah, silent but deadly Fartcoin. It's doing great. I'm glad I talked about it. I'm glad we're trading it. And yeah, so it's got the Groper stamp of approval. We got to go over the stock market real quick. So the stock market, I posted in the VIP guys that like we were like here, and I was talking about the yearly open. So the 2024 yearly open. Obviously, if we lose that 2024 VWAP, there's no VWAP support all through here, and so this 2024 yearly open is a level of interest that we got to watch on the S&P. I thought maybe we could get it this morning. So I was in that Ripple long, and it's like, I don't know. I thought maybe the stock market could keep rolling down and the longs would get screwed, but it ended up holding for the day. So tomorrow it could come down just like one more time. hit that 2024 yearly open and then go up more? I'm not really sure, but this is kind of like a hot region for the S&P. So Q2, I was looking at some commodities recently, and like Q2 has not been good for some of these commodities. Let me clean up my chart here so I can show you guys. All right, so gold and cattle and coffee were all doing really great until just a couple days ago. Basically, the start of Q2 has ushered in, which is the month-to-date VWAP. It's the white line here. You can see how it has not been kind to gold. So gold is still doing well from a year-to-date standpoint. We're still over the year-to-date VWAP, but if we did lose the year-to-date VWAP, it's no longer good value from, well, it is good value from a yearly standpoint, but it does cause you to worry if maybe it does need to come down to any of these previous years' quarterly supports if this year's supports do not hold. So 29.30 is a very important level for gold. If it does not bounce there, probably going to get some good buying opportunities down here at these levels down here. Cattle futures was another one. See how cattle futures is like, it was strong above its year-to-date VWAP. Now it's at the year-to-date, seeming like it's done. Like April 2 has ushered in the topping formation for this to kind of come down lower. And then coffee looking similar here. So see this, they're all in kind of different stages of their dump. But you see coffee has lost its year-to-date now. So now it needs to find some support on like one of these larger previous year's supports here. Now, if we look at other commodities, those were the overperformers. Other commodities like wheat have already been kind of bottomed out. You can see wheat's had a bad year so far. Soybeans were down. Corn was down. Looks like nat gas was another one that was like holding up, but is looking a bit rickety. I put a call that this could come down. So some of them really got shit on. Look at light crude oil futures here. Palladium got shit on, and silver got absolutely shit on. But you got to just watch how this is reacting to this previous year-to-date VWAP, because this could have been an overreaction, and like this is going to bounce up and play around in here. But overall, Q2 has been bad for the commodities, bad for stonks. Bitcoin surprisingly holding up. Like every single quarterly VWAP that Bitcoin settles down on really holds for a good amount of time. Not forever, you know. It's like we just come up, form a lower high, and then continue down. I do think that Bitcoin is going to test the previous year-to-date VWAP and eventually like Michael Saylor's average entry and all that stuff. But we just have to recognize that we have to chew through these major quarterly volume-weighted supports first. There's some big ideas that are kind of making you think that upside is potentially possible, guys. Like, since Q2 has begun, it's common for the chart to go back to the previous quarter's VWAP from this point, which would actually be up here on Bitcoin. That's the year-to-date VWAP. So if at any point Bitcoin closes a daily candle over this fresh April VWAP, which is only at like 82,000, really all we got to do is pump and hold over 82, and that's a good signal of strength that a quarterly leap to the upside could actually take place from this point. That would be painful, guys, because a lot of people have just flipped into bear market mode, you know what I'm saying? So like this upward move would be painful. I'm not counting it out of the cards just yet, even though I'm overall bearish. This move would not surprise me, and this would not affect the overall bearishness of the chart if it came up here and filled that quarterly leap. So if at any point this month or even this quarter, guys, you start seeing closes over the April VWAP, that's a potential long opportunity. Not a investment opportunity, but a long swing trade opportunity up to the previous quarterly VWAP. To give you guys examples, to those of you guys that are new, quarterly VWAPs often present very large swing trading ideas that also guide your scalping for a number of days or weeks, or in this case, a whole month. You see here last year that when Q2 rolled around, there was a little bit of sideways, but once it picked a direction, where was the direction? It started going back to the Q1 VWAP last year. And so by May 1st, right on May 1st, that was when we hit that year-to-date VWAP, that previous quarter's VWAP, and that was the start of a big pump in May. So you're seeing how time frame, the points in time, are almost more important than the price. Like, you almost don't even need to know what the price is. Just when a new period opens up, a quarter or monthly period, in this case a quarterly period, your target, even though it takes a while, your target is down here at the previous period. And this pattern continues here. So like in Q3 last year, you can see how it takes a while. You do need to wait for candlesticks, momentum candles on a decently sized time frame to close over, like in the direction of wherever that previous quarterly VWAP is. So the previous quarterly VWAP at this point was this April VWAP. And so that's above. When you open Q3, you know, we're trading down here. Imagine you're down here thinking, shit, man, we just lost the year-to-date VWAP. It's over, man. You know, so the market makes you think that it's done and it's over. And it's precisely in the moments like these that you got to be careful, because if you start to see the traction built toward the other side on that new quarterly VWAP, like this moment right here was the moment where if I was short, if I shorted the bottom, if I was a late shorter, I would be shitting my pants. So this is the type of bullish signal that we are cautious of in the next month or so. This quarterly leap, you know, there's not many of these moves in a year. There's only 4 of these moves per year, guys. These are like primo. You really got to anticipate these moves coming the month before. Give them time to play out. You know, it's like it takes a lot. It's like hunting Moby Dick. You're like Captain Ahab with these quarterly VWAPs. But notice how the Q4 anchored VWAP last year, notice how basically on October 1st, we were already at the previous quarter's VWAP. We already had settled down on that Q3 yellow VWAP there right on October 1st. So if you were waiting for the new quarter to begin before capitalizing or conceptualizing or thinking of this move, you were already too late. You had to have been up here in September, knowing that as soon as October begins, we want to be down at that yellow line. And so it was actually in late September where you're looking at, and so that was another nice big swing trade that we caught last year. So there's a lot of waiting, guys, a lot of anticipation, all that stuff, but you can see how boom, 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 3 guaranteed gigantic swing trades that I took. You can go back in my streams and like the evidence is there of us hitting these particular moves here. And it worked on a monthly basis as well, like the months ping pong back and forth. So that is why I call my indicator the Leapfrog, because I just noticed that, man, these 3-month candles like to retrace on each other. And there's an opportunity there. So, you know, this quarter opens, this Q1 opens up the year to date this year. And Remember how when we were up here, nobody thought that we could be down here? I was the only one like talking about this correction down, but I was very confident in it because of the results from 2024. So it took a while, guys. It took time. And I did have some failed trades. Like some time. There were times, like for instance right here, where, you know, I shorted in here and I didn't take as much profits as I should have before this thing shot up because I thought this thing could go lower, you know? So you got to be mindful of those fake outs, and you can't just bet everything knowing that it's going to go there in the amount of time that you need. Sometimes it takes time, you know? But this was a very interesting quarterly leap last quarter. Like, and you'll notice the sentiment is most people are in complete denial, and it's a common theme that when a new quarter begins, you're often so far away from the previous quarter's anchored VWAP that the idea of price going there, if you talk about it, everyone thinks you're like an alien or something. Like you sound like a freak talking about, I sound like a freak talking about how Bitcoin could potentially come up here and still be overall bearish, you know? But yeah, a new quarter has opened up. So as soon as we start seeing, I mean, this could easily get worse, melt down, test Sailor's average entry, shit itself, throw up everywhere, you know? But eventually, sometime around here, we're going to start seeing closes over the April VWAP. And if you're short, I would be very worried from that point. Yeah, Jungle B said everyone was super bullish. Yeah, man. Like up here, everybody was insanely bullish. But I don't want to rub it in people's faces because it's like that's the past. The past is the past. Yeah, this is like some strong wickage here. This is definitely a strong support level here for Bitcoin. It doesn't it's going to take a lot for me to flip bullish on Bitcoin again. I mean, you would have to reclaim the year to date, and I'd have to see a green dot on the monthly to get overall bullish, you know? So the overall situation is still quite grim. Man, I've got a lot of new people in the Discord recently, so if you guys have questions, I'm here to answer your questions. Let me know if you guys caught this weekly upward pump here off the week to date VWAP here. A new week began. Nice gap between the new week and the previous week for you guys to exploit. Jungle B says Market Cipher B monthly red dot still 100% hit rate. Yeah, man. It's worth going over like every stream. I know I do go over it every stream, but there's never been a point in history where Bitcoin, and there's not much history to go by, but the second red dot over the 60 line on these momentum waves calls the top. Look, this is the top, the top, the top, and now we're seeing that pattern again. money flow overall coming out, but still green, still in that play ball territory. But even in Bitcoin's bear markets, we're in play ball territory. You know, it's like the price is crashing 80%, money flow is still green. So overall, Bitcoin's monthly money flow is just very green and healthy, indicating an overall macro. You just want to believe in this long term, you know, because that money flow is so nice. But the momentum gives you the shorter time frame, and these are monthly momentum waves, so these are not short time frame. But in relation to money flow, momentum waves are short time frames. So they tell you the immediate direction. So right now, the immediate direction confirmed is down monthly, month after month of down. Especially once we lose the 60 line here on Market Cipher B, that's going to be an even more bearish signal than the red dot itself, because that's the moment in time where we lose critical levels of market momentum. So once you get this signal right here, that crossing of the 60 line, that's not a good sign of, it's not a good sign for the momentum. Clade the Great says the 8-week has a nasty bear div. The 8-week would just be the 2-month. And definitely, man, definitely looking like this could clip over. You could get a 2-month red dot with a VWAP oscillator bearish cross of the 0 line there. That's a good observation, man. Definitely a possibility. 3-month as well. Kind of pinching over there. So ever since the top, I've been hearing Pencil Necks talking about cycle narratives and global liquidity and all this shit, but all I know is that when I trust Market Cipher, especially at these extremes, I do good. So like when you're down here, this is when you believe in Bitcoin and you tell everyone about it, and when you're up here, you know, you kind of just keep your mouth shut, and you still love Bitcoin and shit, but, you know, buy it quietly and stack it in silence and get ready for the next big dip and scoop up in the next big run. So, yeah, man. After doing 35,000 push-ups for Bitcoin last year, I don't know if I could ever fully divorce Bitcoin. I'm definitely just a bearish bull. And I can't wait for it to come back, man. I can't wait for it to come back and look strong again with a fresh bullish cross over that 60 line momentum. I mean, look at that. You know, this moment in time right here, when it first crosses the 60 line, that's when it's like all systems go. You know, like that's when the juiciest part of a bull run has only just begun. This is when the bull run had only gotten started. Right here, at this moment right here, this moment right here, this moment. So that's the shit I'm looking for. I want to take a peek at Ripple here because we just had a nice like Ripple long. Obviously, it's it found a weird bottom. I feel like we only got this as the bottom on Ripple because Bitcoin hit the previous Q2 VWAP. So this is a goofy bottom on XRP here. There's definitely like a weekly leap and maybe like a resistance of the 5-day SMA as a confirmed resistance. It could even pop up, but overall, like look at this situation on Ripple on, is it the monthly? The monthly is a glaring confirmed red dot with a monthly Heikinashi Doji. Definitely indicates like the start of a multi-month downtrend. So we'll definitely want to be looking for a lower high on Ripple this month. It's a tricky situation to wrap your head around. We're pumping right now, but the monthly situation's bearish. So it's like we're basically hunting for whatever the monthly high is. And any longs that I've been in, it's not like I'm buying Ripple to invest in. I'm just trading it to the upside short term. Looks like it's facing a little bit of resistance at the previous Q4 VWAP now. It's a tough call whether it, it's right in the middle of a range. It could basically go down then come up, or come up and come down. So, now that long has filled, things get a lot more sideways, and like once the volatility dies down, it's not as good of a trade, not as surefire of a trade, but we did hit a low here, so it's probably overall going to continue up, finding a top, next week or something. Man, a lot of you guys have been trading SWE because my brother's been trading SWE. It's in this like big monthly, multi-month downtrend here. Money flow looking like a weekly bearish money flow crossover potential here. Now on the daily, this is where things get a little strange. I see like a money flow divergence. We are at previous year-to-date support. You do have a lower low in price with money flow kind of trending up here, so potential green dot clipping there. Looks like SWE has not completed its weekly leapfrog, so there might be a little bit more gap up on SWE here. You can see, though, how that year-to-date VWAP is kind of posing a little bit of like short-term resistance there. Same deal with Solana, looking like this upward move, this immediate upward move from the low on these coins is already a little bit stale, guys, but there is a little more juice as the weekly leapfrogs fill. And then from there, you're kind of in no man's land. You got to see, are these coins going to start closing over that quarter 2 VWAP, and we flip the month, we flip the quarter bullish, and we get these deeper pumps to the upside to retest some upper levels. All that shit's risky because we're overall bearish. So if you're in any long trades, just know that the risk is elevated. You're in a macro downtrend. Doom said 100 squats till we get Ronnie Coleman legs. Yeah, I did a tweet on Twitter. Push-ups are for bull markets, squats are for bear markets, bottoms don't make themselves. 100 squats a day. So today I was in my garage, and I usually squat 3 plates for like 8 to 10. But I was like, I'm going to try and do 1 plate each side and just see how many I could do. And so I did 100 squats with 1 plate on each side. So see if you guys can do that too. I don't even know if that means I'm strong, but I don't even know what like a good squat is. But if any of you guys want to do this with me, I'm going to try and like do these 100 squats a day. I'm going to see if that like ups my regular squat. Because like I do feel strong, but the squat feels awkward still. Like I need to like work on my form. So I usually have like my heels elevated. And Yeah, like I just decided to do more reps with lighter weight because like the 3 plates, man, like when I hit the bottom on 3 plates, it's like I shoot up and I do get it done, but my knees are cracking. I'm 30, guys, so like my knees are cracking, and I really don't even know if I'm gonna make it. You know what I mean? And sometimes like I've had days where like I do 1 squat of 3 plates and I'm like, hell nah, screw this. So yeah, I think lowering the weight is probably good, right? It's like better conditioning. Doom says, do front squats and watch Jay Cutler videos. Yeah, dude, I love Jay Cutler. Love Arnold Schwarzenegger, all those classic bodybuilder guys. Crypto Coon says, put a couple books or something like that under your heels. Yeah, man, elevate. For some reason, I don't know why, but elevating my heels makes squatting so much comfier. Like I can straight up put my legs dang near close together. I don't even need to do a wide stance when I have my heels elevated. I'm squatting like one of those dudes in the 1930s with like spheres on the end of a... They had weird ass barbells back then with like spheres instead of plates. But those guys would squat with their legs like dang near right next to each other, and like they squat like frogs. So when my heels are elevated, I can squat like a frog, like I have a curly mustache or something. Doom, I had no idea, man. Doom said he's 16 years in the Air Force, man. Thanks for your service. Trying to kick it up a notch with the weightlifting, man. I'm right there with you, man. I've been spamming the gym like I would say 3 times a week since my push-up challenge, so I've been making progress. Not really leaning out, but I'm bigger than I was at the start of the year. So make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves, man. We got to make it through this bear market. Need you guys strong and looking attractive, not ugly cave creatures. I don't want to see you guys and be like, look what I did to this guy with my software. I want NickCipher to make your life better, not turn you into Golem from Lord of the Rings. Satoshi Nakamoto says, what was your key to defeating flopping and groping? You have to just embrace it, man. You have to say, I am a flopping groper. That's why my name is the Flopping Groper. Because any day you could wake up and you could forget everything. You could... A big part about like trading successfully is like waking up and remembering like who you are, remembering your strategy, and like the rules you've set for yourself. Like who you are today is so important. Like if you're not yourself, that's the only way I can describe it, man. Is like some days you wake up and you're just not yourself, man. You screw everything up, you know. So I guess that's what a flopping groper is you know, you splash around and shit, but there you just have those days where you shit the bed, you know. So you got to cut back on that, work on that, those big loss days. And yeah. You're always going to have that feeling of, you know, do I have a grasp of reality right now, or am I off in La La Land? Off in Lolo Land. Shout out to Lolo in the chat. But you know, even starting this stream up, I was like feeling a little bit of like, man, I don't necessarily know where the markets are going, but I do have information to tell people. Like I do have, you know, I come out here anyways because I love you guys and like this is what I do. You know, but I felt a little shaky and a little flopping gropey, like even going live today, because it's like I don't know exactly whether it's going to go up or down right now. All I can do is come out and say, you know what, this was a move that we caught today. You know, we caught this upward move to the previous week to date VWAP. A new weekly VWAP had began. We pulled the trigger. We caught this move. And now we're kind of just making educated guesses until a new period of respectable size rolls through and gives us a new opportunity. So you don't need to know like what's on the other side of the mountain to have a good time. I always say that. It's like you have a little flashlight. You can see 15 feet in front of you. That's all you need to start your journey. So just trust that like the lights are turned on as you start walking. It's like walking through a dark hallway. And it's like, look, you're walking through a dark hallway. What the hell is going on? There's no VWAP support, no nothing. We're just running from... I mean, there's so many points on the scalp timeframes where you probably could have thought like this was a bottom, this was a bottom, an old version of you, you know? But the new version of you knows you got to wait for something to be revealed. You got to wait for a new weekly VWAP, and you're not going to trade up to this point. You're not going to like have any bright ideas like this until you start seeing traction over that new weekly VWAP, and that's how you take that move. So I think that we've gotten better as traders, guys. Like we're not like I said, there's a lot of FOMO in the air because you see my brother slamming these huge trades. I feel it too, man. Last few days I've been like, man, how come I'm not making 600 grand today? But my edge is like I wait for new periods to begin and I weasel in there and I find my little opportunities. And that's what I teach, and we've been killing it, guys. We've been killing it. Some guy in the chat said I'm a professional bullshitter, but like, is this professional bullshit? Like, look. Now we're almost... XRP came up and wicked up there, and we hit... It hit the target exactly, and I posted this for you guys. I show you guys when things go bad too. Most of my trades that I give you guys are pretty good. This was a bad one right here. I had alerts set all day, thinking Fartcoin could get a little bounce off of this the month to date VWAP here. This is the white line there was a make or break level for altcoins. So Fart and XRP. Look, see, I was trying to catch this bounce here, and it looked good. See how good it looked? But that trade stopped out and I lost 2,400 bucks. So you know, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes and stuff, but the point is you got to keep the losses small. You know what I'm saying? Clate the Great says, bro, knowing what I know now, I pray for a bear market. That's a really good mentality, man, because a reset is good for the middle class and the lower class. These markets are run by rich people, so, like, I don't quite relate to the whole, like, market going up equals good, market going down equals bad. Because I consider myself middle class. There's definitely... I definitely need more stocks, more Bitcoin, more gold, more everything that I don't have. And I need to get that somehow. And if I'm going to get it, I need lower prices. So... overall, it's good for us, but what it means is you have to work. If you don't have money coming in, you gotta work. You gotta get a job, or sell something, or invent something, or create something. You have to help people. That way you have cash in a crisis. It's times like this that's like long-term investing. You know, you may want to start just proof of concept type stuff. Like, you know, you just put a little bit in just to see, like, what happens when I buy a dip like this in history. Because you don't get things like this happening all the time, you know? So, I mean, this is... Gold obviously could get cheaper here. We're still over 2 years year-to-dates, but... I mean, look at silver now. Look at the value that you're getting here. Objectively speaking, you're now cheaper than the biannual VWAP, the VWAP from last year, January 1st. So you're paying like 2024 prices, start of 2024 prices, as opposed to 2025, start of 2025 prices like before. So it's just, it is better value now. I just personally think the markets could keep going down a bit more, and it's like a longer term dump. But overall, like, this should be exciting to everybody. Like, these are exciting times, man. Volatility's been crazy. Opportunities abound. The only people complaining are the rich people who had everything. And they're not really complaining. They have property and they have assets and cash and they're fine. They're chilling. MJ says, you know how to scalp market perfectly. I would say I don't scalp the market perfectly. I do extract money out of the markets every month. Like, I am profitable. So that puts me in the top 1%. But the top 1% is still nothing compared to like the top 0.1 or 0.01%, which makes like 100 times what I make. So I still have a lot of room to grow. I still make mistakes. Still growing, but I did create like a system that helps. That's how you know it's a good system, if it helps other people. You know, it's one thing to have a system that helps you, but I feel like I've utilized anchored VWAPs in such a way that helps other people, so... Try to make it as clear as possible. And we just did a big update on this Leapfrog tool. The settings are a lot more customizable for you guys. Got an additional custom VWAP down here, so if there's ever a drone pal meeting, you can always slap an extra VWAP on that date. You just enable that VWAP, set it to whatever the date is. See? You put a little name on it. Boom. So, I mean, and then that way when you go through the charts, you go through all your cryptos, you're seeing how the price on all these charts is reacting to that particular VWAP. You're no longer having to like click this anchored VWAP tool and click it on this chart, and then go to this chart and click it on this chart, and then this chart and click it on that chart. So it saves you a lot of time, definitely improves your workflow. It's giving you all the levels that, it's kind of like CF spider lines, where it's like, it's giving you all the little levels where the price is actually going to respect. D asks a question. He says, what is CF's edge? His edge is just MC basic strategy and I guess spider lines, man. MC basic strategy and spider lines. A little bit of Heikin-Ashi wisdom, which CF himself, I don't think he ever really fully explained all of the secrets that he employs, like with Heikin-Ashis, but I did do my best to go over all of them in my recent Heikin-Ashi masterclass video. So like everything I learned from watching him, trading myself, and just everything that I learned because NickCipher, it's recommended that you trade with Heikinashi. So watch that Heikinashi video, and that's definitely like a reason why his entries play out pretty good most of the time, because he enters like on the winning side of the trade. But he swears his edge, if you asked him his edge, I think he would say it's just MC basic strategy. Nathan asks, you still trading breakout? Yes, I am, bro. Yes, I am. I had a little payout, a little 2K payout this month. But just been making smaller trades. I haven't been gambling with it. Like if I gambled on this XRP move here, I would have made like 10-15 grand. It would have been like, I would have been bragging about it. It would have been a big ol' thing, but it was just a little 2K. I made 2K on this move up here on the breakout account, so nothing crazy, but like the month is still early, so I wish I had more for you guys. I know the starts of months are usually pretty hot, so it is kind of sad that like I missed this dump down and I didn't take advantage of this pump up more. But I'm not going to beat myself up too hard over that. Even though my bro like logs on and streams every day and catches every move and makes me feel like an asshole. Jungle Bee says, CF said he was watching another trader when he found out about the spider lines. He said they're really just trend lines. Yeah, man, those spider lines are seriously legit. Like, I'm always asking my bro. That's like the #1 thing I ask is there a spider line around us right now? Because those spider lines really help, man. It's crazy how much confluence you'll have. Like, you know, we'll be bouncing on a big VWAP. Like, look at this Q2 VWAP bounce. Solid, man. Solid macro support there. And then CF tells me he's long too, and I'm like, nah, man, how'd you get long? How the hell do you catch this bottom with just MC basic strategy and him just winging it in his CF way that he does? But he's always got some spider line helping him out. That's what I noticed. Hunter, our boy Hunter says, crypto has totally effed my perception of money. 2K is a lot of money, but when I lose 5K of spot, it's like, oh well. You gotta remember how important money is, man. You got to make sure you got money coming in. You know, you gotta withdraw profits. Actually withdraw. The breakout trading is real good for me because I love to grow the account. I love when the trades get scarier and the balls get hairier as the trades get scarier, man. You know? And I'm definitely in this game not just to make money, but to lug my balls around in a wheelbarrow and say, look at me. You know? But you have to like withdraw, bro. You have to at least take half of your winnings like at least once a month and pay yourself so that you're actually a trader, because you're not a real trader unless you do that, bro. Code Foxes, does the spider lines work on cryptos? Yes, it works on all cryptos. But you have to like set them up yourself, because CF only has like Bitcoin spider lines that he's set up publicly. I guess that's a good video topic, how to set up spider lines, but that's CF's edge. Maybe he has a video on them already. Lolo asks, what about GME stock? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at GameStop. Well, you know, overall, let's go back to stock, the S&P 500 real quick. The S&P 500 has me in a little bit of a pickle here, because I do think that this yearly open, the 2024 yearly open, that would have been real nice if we got that. So I'm still worried about like a one final spike down tomorrow on the S&P. So when I look at GameStop, looks like my labels aren't showing, which kind of is annoying, but let's see here. I'm a little bit bearish on GameStop. We're kind of like above the previous weekly VWAP here. You got like a 7% gap to last week's VWAP, which is like different than a lot of charts. Most charts, the previous week's VWAP is overhead. So I don't know, maybe it just keeps running from the previous weekly VWAP here, maybe, but I'd be cautious about longs when you have that kind of looming to the downside. If you're gonna long, maybe wait for a retest of this white April/Q2 anchored VWAP and that previous weekly VWAP first before doing anything, before getting any bright ideas there. Ooh, we got to look at MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy holding for now, holding on this previous Q2 VWAP. Still awaiting that coveted year-to-date leapfrog to the downside. So we got a real nice sloped down. Look at that slope downness of the Q2 VWAP here. Looks like this 5-day SMA in the background, it's kind of like sloping up, because I feel like some of this bearish data back here is probably falling off. But sometimes that creates like a hidden divergence. Like the SMA is like randomly creeping up despite price being below it, and price is continuing lower. And then finally, the SMA finally catches up. Like I've seen that before. But I'm bearish on MicroStrategy. If Bitcoin retests Michael Saylor's average entry, I would think that this loses last year's year-to-date, because his company officially at that point has nothing going for it. So it's not that he will get liquidated, but his shareholders will greatly suffer. So I mostly just feel bad for anyone holding MSTR, getting their shares diluted and having Michael Saylor basically dump on them and vampire leech them. If you believe in Bitcoin, just buy Bitcoin, because it's actual ownership. And like, it's just funny because Michael Saylor says just buy Bitcoin, but his actions, what he offers people is this other thing that isn't Bitcoin. It's his thing. So like, he's silently telling you to not buy MSTR. He's silently telling you, don't buy this garbage. Just buy Bitcoin. Because if you buy MSTR, you're kind of an idiot. At least right now. Man, anything else you guys want me to go over? I'm feeling like we did a pretty good job here. Weekly Leap was quite interesting this week. Could still be playing out, but for the most part, we're out of this and we've taken profit. if it continues up and we reclaim, if Bitcoin does reclaim 82K, we start closing over 82, guys, I do get quite bullish for a Q1 VWAP test, coming all the way up here to like 90K. But that's risky to even have that idea. We're so overall bearish that what's probably more likely is we find a top probably at that monthly VWAP or maybe a little bit above. But that's pretty much where I'm at with the medium term. Martine wants me to look at ETH. I don't even think I looked at ETH. ETH kind of hasn't been on my radar, bro. It's been God, man, look how low holy shit, this thing crashed to 1400. Oh my god. That's like not a strong psychological level. Like, I think that overall this thing's got more room to come down. I could honestly see ETH going to like 800. Just like tippy top of my head, gut feeling. That would be sweeping this low back here, I guess. The 2022 low. Doesn't $800 ETH kind of feel cozy? Like, if you got like ETH under 1,000, it's like, I would buy that. 800 feels cozy, man. That's like, that's a point where I would, believing in ETH doesn't feel so bad, man. At those prices. Those are some good prices. But I'm a little bit skeptical until, I don't know if I'm that into this 1500 level on ETH, man. KZ says ETH is dead AF for not all-time high with Bitcoin. Yeah, that was definitely the biggest disappointment of the entire bull run was ETH underperforming. But ever since the beginning, it was always Bitcoin's march to 100K. And everyone else just butt leeching, trying to take advantage the whole way up. So it's almost like this bull run shouldn't have happened. It's just we were correcting the sins from the last cycle of not going to 100K. Bitcoin to 100 racks, man. You know? So it was getting easier and easier to convince the masses that Bitcoin is worth 100K. But it's going to take a little more convincing for these shit coins to pop off, I guess. We'll get some quantitative easing, and then the next push up for Bitcoin, these things should pop up. They'll probably get front ran. There probably will be like an alt rally as Bitcoin is at some lows or some shit. Like, alts will have their time randomly, but who the hell knows, man? I think that's about it for me, guys. If I have some more intel in the next coming days, I'll put out just a regular video. And if you guys are new in the VIP, don't hesitate to ask questions. I want you guys like understanding my tool and utilizing these VWAP levels effectively, because that makes me look good, that makes us look good. So I'm vested in your guys' success. So if there's any way I can help, let me know. And I'll be back next week. You guys trade safe. God bless you. Like and subscribe. Hit the like bell. Hit the bell. Subscribe. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.